Welcome to It Happened on the Job. We are your podcast for relatable conversations with contractors. My name is Mike. That's Brian.
You almost said your name was Brian.
I almost got there. Little jump, a little quick there. We are episode number 36 today.
Yeah, and today we have Alexi Cortez with us, president of Diverse Technology Industrial Incorporated, and with him is his VP of Marketing, James Hardman. How's it going, guys?
Very good.
Awesome.
How are you guys doing?
We're doing great.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, man. Thanks for taking the time.
Yeah, we're doing really good. We're glad to have you. Alexi, if you could just kind of, tell us about your business, how you got started in the business, kind of the history there.
Okay. So it was 2001. I was getting deployed to Afghanistan, and I was a Marine. And what we did was I was on an aircraft carrier, and I remember heading to Afghanistan in the aircraft carrier. There was some subcontractors working until they get into a hazardous zone, and then they get flown off. In the process, I was watching these guys, and these guys, they were doing a lot of things in there, in the berthings, and the heads, and the galleys, and they were doing epoxy work. And our job was to help the Navy keep the maintenance and help them maintain the ship until they dropped us off, basically. And so I was working with these contractors, and these contractors, they were installing an epoxy floor, and I was helping them out. I was catching on, and the contractor asked me, he was like, "Hey, he says, God bless you, come back alive, but if you do, why don't you come and see me? I would love to give you a job or teach you how to do this." And I said, "Well, how much do you get paid?"
That's a good question.
Question number one.
Very important.
Yeah. And so the guy told me, he was like, "Well, let me explain this to you. So this is based off piecework." I said, "Okay, what does that mean?" He says, "We get paid per square foot. We're kind of 1099s, but there's other companies that do it different ways, but this is a lucrative business." And I said, "Okay, well, what's the numbers?" And the numbers he told me was staggering. I couldn't believe in 2 months this guy made almost $250,000. And
jeez,
independently, and the way he did it, he took out little portions at a time so taxes wouldn't hit him. So he can work for 2 months and then have 6 months off and be okay. And I was like, that's the kind of gig I want to be involved with. Right? So I was intrigued by it. So I remember when I got deployed, this is when deployments were 6 months, okay? Before Bush extended the deployments to be 1 year.
Yep.
So I remember on my 5th month, I already called him. I was like, "Hey, I'm coming back next
coming
time."
home.
So I would love to get on and part-time and help you guys out, because I only had to report for a couple hours a day on base. So once they gave me liberty, I could do whatever I want. So I was like, I called him, the guy was like, yeah. And he was excited. So never forget this guy's name ever in my life. This guy, I honestly believe that guy was there for a reason. So when I got back, he had me already ready to go. I was buddying with somebody else. And he was like, "Well, you're a 1099. He goes, "I'm going to give you the guy that's going to train you. You're going to help him, and he's going to pay you partially his portion of a square foot price." I was like, "Well, let's go." So we went, and it just ended up being something really, really great. And so at that point, I started asking him questions about the business. How much money do you make? How much can you make? What can you do? Stuff like that. And can you branch this out to other things? And he was like, "Yeah." And keep in mind, this was shipyard, right? This was all government work. So yeah. I didn't realize it was commercial side. So I was doing the government work. And at that point, I said, "Okay, I'm going to start my own business." And then I deployed again. I come back and I started my business. And that business that I started ended up being very successful. And I just started taking little jobs. The guy was teaching me how to bid these jobs. He was very instrumental in
like your mentor.
Yeah. And I never had that in my life. I'm an orphan. So I never had that. No one ever wanted to teach me anything. I had to learn everything off the grit. It was pure muscle how I had to learn everything. So for somebody to divulge that information, it was kind of crazy to me that somebody wanted to see me win, right? So I couldn't understand it. So I took advantage of it as I thought I should, and I wrote down everything. I mean, I had notepads full of notes. I still have the original notes from when he started teaching me all this. So I started creating Excel spreadsheets, bid sheets, and stuff like that, because he was doing it traditionally. He was doing it with paper,
all in hand,
paper and stuff. So I started at that point, started advancing. And keep in mind, this is when AOL started hitting and all that kind of stuff, right? So I'm over here, I'm learning Excel, I'm doing all these things, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna systematically put this together and standardize it. So I standardized it, and then I started creating SOPs, because in the military, everything you did had a standard operating procedure.
Right.
So I learned my core bases off the military.
Awesome.
So at that point, then you had to have people with positions, a structure, people with positions, identify the positions, what's their job responsibilities, stuff like that. So I started putting it all together, and I started my own company. And that company ended up being a multi-million-dollar company over a length of about 5-6 years.
Jeez.
And because I didn't know a lot about corporations and I was young, I ended up losing that company because I bought out 2 other companies, and I took the 2 guys that worked for those other companies. I said, hey, come on board. I'm in and out of Iraq, so I need full-time guys, and I want to give you stake in the game. Right? So I gave them stake. I gave them 33 1/3%, 33 1/3%. When I came back off my second to final tour, they voted me out and paid me, and they never brought any liquid to the table. I'm the one who gave them the equity.
Jeez, dude.
So I learned instantly business was cutthroat.
Yeah.
I didn't understand that. I thought there was laws that would protect you against that. I didn't know how shares worked. And the crazy part is that that lawyer, my corporate attorney, to vote me out and buy me out.
Wow.
So at that point, I walked away with 10 million, and I literally was retired. I didn't have to do a whole lot. Just was retired, and there was a guy down the street from me. His name was Dean. He was working for a company that was similar to what I was doing, but it was commercial. And I knew all the equipment he had, and I was like, hey, you work at the shipyard? He was like, no, not the shipyard, I do commercial. I was like, commercial? Like, where would you put this down in commercial? So we started talking a lot, and then it came to a point where somebody was looking for a guy to build a company. They were looking for installers, and this big company came over and said, hey, how about you start your own company and we'll pay somebody to train you, and then you can be one of our subcontractors. I was like, nah, I'm retired, I'm good. I'm okay. And at that point, I was thinking, okay, how much is $10 million left? So I put some money into the investment, and then keep in mind, I had one more tour of Iraq left. I went in.
Were you active duty at this point?
Yes.
Wow. Yeah.
Yes.
Before we get too far, we want to thank you for your service
seriously.
too. Thank you.
Thank you very much. My dad's a Marine as well, so I have a lot of respect for you.
Hoorah.
Yeah.
Hoorah.
So at this point, I start this company, and then I get trained, and then I leave. And I come back, and I said, you know what? I think I'm all set. Like, the company, when I came back, the big corporation asked me to come back as an installer for them. I said, nah, I think I'm good. Well, the person I used to work with, he was a sales rep for this company. I got approached to help him build his company because he separated from the big corporation. And at that point, we formed a partnership. I said, okay, I'll handle training the guys, logistics, creating divisions. I'll hold all that. I'll put all that together, and you handle the administration and the sales to support that. So we had a great thing going. In less than 7 years, we were approximately about $38 million.
Wow.
Annually.
Dang, man.
And And then from that point, my daughter was diagnosed with autism. So I wanted to retire. I wasn't doing money. I wasn't chasing money any longer. So I wanted to retire.
Retire again.
Yeah. Yeah, retire again. Because I spent 300 days, 250 to 300 days on the road.
Wow.
So, and my daughter, I found out about autism. I didn't know about autism. And ignorantly, I thought it was a form of mental retardation. I didn't understand it.
Yeah.
And when the doctors were breaking it down to me, I was kind of angry. I was kind of upset with myself that I was traveling so much. And I remember leaving to New York to do a project in New York. And she was bleeding through her ears. And my wife sent me pictures of it. And I just said, you know what? I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Sure.
And I only took 10 days off a year. And that 10 days that I took off a year ended in that September. And that September is when that project started, after I was pleading with my partner I don't want to take this project on. We don't need the money. Let me just take my 10 days. And there's things going on with greed. And then at that point, I just realized I made a phone call, and this is very critical. I made a phone call. I said, hey, where you at? My daughter's bleeding through her ears. I need to go home. He was like, I'm in Hawaii. I was like, you there for business? He's like, no, I'm there on a vacation.
Oh.
What?
This made me realize I was fighting the wrong battle, but it also made me realize I have to attend to the most important thing and stop chasing the dollar. So that's basically in a win how I got started and how it's evolved all the way to this point. And there's a lot more to go with that.
Yeah, no, that's lots to unpack there. So you have a new company since you left that company? Is that?
Yeah. So this is where it gets real good. So when I left that company.
Well, our time is about up, but thanks so much.
So that's when I left that company. I think the person went through anxiety, how they're going to maintain this, and for some reason, this person kind of took an aggressive approach and started doing a whole lot of things, started saying a whole lot of things, and I didn't understand it. This same person that was my partner was the godfather of my children, so I didn't understand it, and I knew his personality, but I didn't understand it. So there was a very important client that I knew wasn't getting attended to, and they were calling me. They were calling me to come back, and I was like, no, I'm retired. I spent 2 years at home with my daughter, and keep in mind, she's nonverbal, so I've been trying to understand because she has her own way of picking things out. Like,
right. Yeah.
Like she wants Dorito, she'll call it red. Right. So I started learning all these things in those 2 years, and I actually got to be a father and for once and be home for once. And I enjoyed that life, but these customers were calling me. And I told my last partner, I said, please, I got 5 requests for you. I said, please don't throw dirt on my name. Take care of my dad, retire my dad, take care of my crew, pay me what is my portion. And what was the final one? It was something else. And well, he fired my dad, fired my crew. We had to go to court for our portion, and he threw dirt all over my name.
Ugh.
And I was just kind of like, okay. So for me, I'm not driven by money except proving people wrong. So
Yeah. If the money comes as part of that, then bring it on. But
Sweet.
Yeah.
So there was some things there that that I didn't agree with. I was getting phone calls from mutual clients that were saying, hey, can you come back? I was like, no, I'm retired. And they kept pushing the issue. And then my old guys going through the industry, them not having a job, they kept calling me and saying, hey, can you come back? We need a job. So with the pressure of that and the guys, I went and I started DTI, I started Diverse Technology Industrial. But keep in mind, in 2008, 2009, I gobbled up a ton of real estate, where I didn't need any, I had income coming in where I didn't need, I sustained no matter what, and I was doing really well. And without doing much except being a full-time dad, right? So while this is all mounting and the people are telling me they need me back and stuff like that, I said, with all the dirt that was thrown on my name, I said, this is the only reason why I want to come back. I want to
prove them wrong. Yeah.
Yeah. So at that point, and it gets ugly, and I don't understand it because I'm a person, even still to this day, I would never say anything bad about the man. But But for me, it was more how many people followed this guy because he had a following. Like we spent $8 million in products a year, and he told every manufacturer, don't sell to that. Don't sell them. So everybody stopped. They wouldn't even talk to me.
Wow.
So the obstacles were very, very crazy. But I'm one of those guys, man, when you say you can't do something, I do it. I said, you know what? I'm going to keep pushing it. And I'm going to make him come to me and give me an apology and, forgive him later on. And it kind of goes into the whole thing of how DTI started.
Yeah.
It was to give the better service, competitive pricing, and literally giving great quality. So at that point, when everybody blackballed me, or, because some places it's illegal for people not to sell to me, they would give me overinflated prices. So what I did was I said, you know what? All right, you guys don't want to sell to me? No problem. I had to do like some co-op stuff, like under the table things. I had to create a false name of a company to create an account with certain people and hide the details. And so I went through store managers and I was getting product that way, but it was overpriced. So I was building up enough. I was building
cash flow
enough
and equity,
to reinvest back into what I knew I was going to do, which was cut the middleman out. So what I ended up doing is my background, I do a lot of chemical engineering. So what I did, I found somebody who could make my product and at a competitive price. And what I would do from the profits from that, I would open up a store so no one would have to go through what I went through. So I opened up a store to compete with the big names in the epoxy world. And that thing is generating millions of dollars now because we give people fair pricing and we buy from us and we sell us.
Yeah.
So we ended up, this store it's amazing. It's beautiful. It caters to that guy that's really trying to maximize his profit with some great product and reinvest back into himself. And so that's how one of our subsidiaries was formed, was Diverse Technology Coatings and Supplies. So we have DTI, which is Diverse Technology Industrial. We have Diverse Technology Industrial Coatings and Supplies. We have now Diverse Technology Industrial Concrete Polishing, and it goes on. Like we started forming that because we created a demand.
Yeah.
We started recycling that demand, and all the money goes back to us, which we incentivize all of our staff to make sure it goes in full circle.
That's awesome. So I feel like, been retired twice, like 9 different companies and all this. I feel like you should be like 78 years old. And I feel like you don't look a day over 30. You don't look a day over 25.
Probably feel 78 though.
Yeah.
I feel like 108.
I just say that to say congratulations, man. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Before we get too much further, is your daughter doing well? Is she everything? You still getting to spend time with her and hang out with her?
Yeah, she's a crazy guy. We got honestly, it's just one of those things. You just got to go for the ride and hopefully, and support her in every which way and provide her all the tools for her to be successful. You're a lifetime parent at that point.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh yeah,
that's awesome. Well,
Thank you.
That's good on you for that for taking that on, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, I don't even know where to go. I feel like I've got 150,000 questions for you.
Let's go.
But I was writing stuff down there every day. Yeah.
It's different.
It's definitely very different. So how long is DTI? How long have you had that business in place now? How long have you been going with that?
So 4.5 years.
Okay.
So we have, like I said, we have Diverse Technology. We have a life cycle, right? So we have a life cycle, and we have Diverse Technology Industrial, which is the parent company.
Yeah.
We have Diverse Technology Industrial Coatings, concrete polishing, which DTI flooring subs to.
Right.
Yeah. They have
Smart.
staff.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then we have Diverse Technology Coating Supplies that sells all the diamonds, all the coatings, anything you need to DTI CP and Diverse Technology Industrial Flooring. Right. And then we have DTI, which is Diverse Technology Industrial Properties, which we have 14 30-unit apartment buildings that makes a lot of money on its own. And then we have an energy drink. We have Diverse Technology, we have Liquid Gold.
Shut up.
Is that to keep your guys working?
Yeah.
Shut up.
this is
how do we get a case of that? I'm drinking Monster.
This will kill my. This will.
Is it sugar free? I gotta live that keto lifestyle.
Yeah, sugar free.
I gotta live that keto lifestyle.
Yeah, it's sugar free. So if you notice, there's the logo, and then there's the logo there.
That's awesome. Just
Right.
hands and everything. So funny.
Yeah.
So it doesn't sound like you're looking to retire for a third time anytime soon, then, huh?
No, I have a goal. My goal is, and there's a crazy life cycle here. My goal is to get to $100 million, not for the money, just for that pinnacle, monumental moment. And give the company away.
The fact that at that point you can kind of turn around to all those other people and be like, look what I did. That sounds about right.
I mean, and I know it's weird, but for me, that's the only thing that wakes me up in the morning.
Yeah.
When you're not chasing, or what are you doing?
Yeah.
So my goal is to hit $100 million and then give the company away to the guys who helped me get there.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah.
How's your dad doing? Is he still in it, or is he retired, or?
So my dad's in Florida. I paid off his house. He gets a weekly check every week, and he's good.
His allowance,
yeah. When I need him, here's the crazy part: is when I need him. My dad's old school. When I need him, I say, "Hey, Dad, how'd you like to make some money?" He says, "Well, tell me what it is." I said, "I got to blast 20,000 square feet, so I'll be right there." He'll do it in one day.
I need to take a couple cases of my energy drink and start doing some guerrilla marketing and take it around, start passing it out.
That's it.
That's rad. And so how many employees you guys have working for you? I mean, through everything, through the total,
all the companies, we have about 70.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And how many of them have been with you since back in the day?
So here's the thing about that, right? That's a tricky question because the longest person I've had here is 3 years, and that's Pam. And she's my VP of finance. So the labor pool and everything that used to be in 08, 07, 06, 05, it ain't no more. That's gone. So it's administration, we have a better chance of keeping them than you do labor. Labor is like nomads now. Like they go around and they hop around and hop around and hop around, and they really don't think about the future. Back in the day, when I had all these companies, I've never had an influx because I pay my people way above par. I got like my foremen, my supervisors out in the field. They're making six figures. They get bonuses based off performance, so they get a labor bonus. So if they got $10,000 labor budget, they do it in 6. They get 10% of that $4,000 remaining, and they get paid as soon as I get paid. So they're constantly making money. And then my sales, they do really well. They do really well. They're incentivized really well. We have a lot of competitions for them to always strive for more.
Yeah.
Like, I love making it fun. And the beauty of what we do is even with the labor issues, I used to question myself and say, why am I so nice to these people when they leave me? I teach them things and they leave. And I just realized I just got to stick to who I am and what I do and not let anything change me, not let the industry change me or how many people come to me.
That's hard not to take personal though, right? I mean, it's hard. Yeah.
But when you put your heart into it, it starts becoming fun.
Yeah.
And then I just realized I can't be a master of hiring. I got to be a master of firing. That's the difference. See, back in the day, you had a great pool, and I asked myself, how was I so successful back then as of now? What's the difference? And when I realized every time I had a company and it started, it was right after a recession or during a recession. So they didn't have to go. There wasn't jobs.
There wasn't the opportunity for them to be jumping around. Yeah.
And by the time they were done, right, the recession blows over, they've already committed 3 years to me. So it's kind of like, I'm gonna stay here. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
might as well. Yeah.
Such a revolving door. And now the issue that I have is the parents. The parents don't teach these kids anything. They don't teach them risk.
Preaching to the choir, sir. Preaching to the choir.
Yeah. So they're not teaching them risk and reward. That's the issue that I have. Like when my son says, "Hey, Dad, I want a PlayStation." I said, "Well, you better go to the store and go to work. You better earn a check. So he goes to the store and he has to rearrange things on the counter.
Got him stocking shelves and
yeah, he does. I kid you not. And what I'm trying to teach him is when you're in a pool, you have to work from the bottom and work your way up. Now with this entitlement mentality, it's kind of like I want $15 an hour. And I say, how do you demand that even though I pay above that just to start? Just to start, I have to pay way above that. But, you know, when you look at these people, they're like, I want this. I've been here 3 months. I said, what does that mean to me? I said, listen, if I go from 20 to 30, what you end up missing out is how to gradually
the process to get there.
And mastering the process. How will you be able to critically think if I just go from here to here?
Tell me how you want to get to 30. What reasons you have to get to 30, and we'll map out a plan to get to 30. But and
what we do, we don't do traditional raises. By the way, I've had a guy who gained $8 in 1 year, but he went from X amount to X amount in 1 year. So it was his work ethic. And that's why I tell people, I don't care what piece of paper you bring me, it's the work ethic. What are you willing to do that the next man's not? You want to be successful? Because this is the place that I actually take care of it. So the labor pool has changed, but what I also realized, you have to talk to them. It's not like how it used to be. Back in the day, I used to run cutthroat business. I used to be like, hey, just get that shit done. Excuse my language, but
good.
Like, I would say that, hey, get that shit done, and that's it. You know, and the guys would do it. Now it's more, hey, you have to, hey, can you get that done? This is the reason why. If you don't get that done, this is what it costs because of that. You know, now you're in an information era where guys want to know everything.
We were literally just talking about that to somebody last week, how that mentality of the workforce right now is that as an owner, I mean, that's part of it, right? Like getting them to understand why you want something done or how it's going to help or what the consequences are or anything else. Because there is, like you said, so much information out there. And then also that need almost to be transparent with all your employees as from everything, almost the top down, right? Just because if you're not, somebody else might be. And then they're thinking, well, what's this guy hiding? Who am I working for? The fact that he's not going to show me this or tell me this or do all those kind of things. So I mean, you're exactly right. In the way that you have to treat the employees now sometimes is completely different.
So I got this thing with these guys, right? They'd be like, Lex, 20 years, what does it look like? I said, I don't know. I got a grandfather that lived 106 years old. He goes, what, doing epoxy? I said, no, he minded his own damn business. He just did what he did. You know what I mean? He did his thing. And what he did was he was worried about himself, and he gradually moved up in the whole process of life. And then at that point, the rewards were not instantaneously, but it was in the long-term picture. And these kids now, I'll give you an example. I had this kid, he was 21 years old when he came, 20 years old when he came to see me. But he had a beautiful work ethic that was far different from anybody in his age group. And I said, you know what I'm going to do with you? And the next year, give me 1 year to 2 years, I'll make you a six-figure guy. And I did that.
Which at 21 years old, he was probably like, hell yeah, let's go. Especially if you had that mentality to work hard. Man,
let me tell you, how long? A year and a half, he was making $100,000+ a year. Okay.
Dang.
Then what this kid did, I didn't realize I was getting manipulated. He was gathering information, and he goes to me, he goes, I'm gonna go start my own gig. I was like, what? It just now at that point, I go back home, I talk to my wife, because my wife is the voice of reasoning, right? I said, can you believe this shit? I just invested a year and a half into this little kid. And then next thing you know, he was going to church with me just because he was trying to get in my brain. You know what I mean?
But thinking back to 21, you probably would have done the same thing, right? I mean, and that's
no, I didn't have mentorship growing up. I didn't have that. So what I had, was your word was your bond.
Yeah.
Right. When we shake hands, I'm a deliver. I'm never going to stab you in the back. Now, if I got plans, like if I've outgrown the situation and I need to be on my own, I will let you know and say, hey, I think I can be of greater use to you if I have my own situation.
Yeah.
Do you think you'd be okay with that? I would have worked with that kid. I would have been like, let me help you. Because what people don't realize, you got to be cut from a different cloth to be a boss. You got to eat shit while everybody eats good for the first 3 to 5 years.
Yeah.
And these cats, they see, here's the crazy part. They look at my lifestyle, but they didn't have to go through what I went through.
Yeah.
You know, they see the Rolls Royce, they see all this stuff outside and the jewelry and all that. They're like, oh, Lex is living that good life. They don't realize that 9 million of it was from real estate that I invested when everybody else was bailing.
Right.
It wasn't from this, you know. So these kids, they're looking at an Instagram world and they want to be a part of it, but they do not want to work for it.
Yeah.
And they're willing to lie, cheat, and steal to get to the top instead of doing it the ethical way. And I always said my moral compass was my offer. I would never do bad business because I have to look at myself in the mirror.
Yep.
And these kids don't understand.
So this kid leaving, it wasn't so much that he left, it was more how he left. Because I have to imagine for you, having somebody kind of following in those footsteps of going out on their own would almost be kind of like a badge of honor, right? Like, hey, look what I've done it. So it's not so that's what I was trying to get at. So
and he mentioned that. He said if he came to him and said, hey,
so it's not so much that he left.
I can use the kid right now.
Right.
You know what I mean? I would have subbed it out to him, and it's less liability for me, less insurance, less 401k. It's all around a good situation. But how you go about things,
right.
For anybody listening, it's kind of like, don't burn your bridges. You're only as good as your network. And I always tell people your network is your network. And if you're willing to screw that over, I promise you I want nothing to do with you. I'm pretty good about saying bye. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Listen, anywhere, I tell people this, and this is something personal, but I will give it to you guys. I've generated a lot of money. And I went broke 3 times, okay? But I've always been able to get back on top because my name was always good. People wanted to do business with me because I've never stole a dime from anybody. And if I said I was going to do something, I always delivered. And anytime I opened up a company, it's always been successful because wherever I go, my name is good. They're not going to say, Lex burned me for 20 grand. Lex did this to me. He's a liar. They're not going to tell you that. That's not going to happen. You know what I mean? So I've always been able to generate incomes because my name was always worthy and it was always good.
Right. Well, and it sounds like in the past, when things have gone south with previous partners, you might have hit that blip for a little bit, but because of your name and because of what you have done in the past, you were able to get past that. Because people go, you know, I remember Alexi. He was awesome. He was able to do this. He was able to do what he said he was going to do when he said he was going to do it. So
listen, I always tell people, you'll know a real boss when you see it because you see the results once a person removes himself out of that equation.
Yep.
So once I remove myself out of that equation, people start reaching out to me. I'm like, okay, everybody understands what was moving it and how it was moving, right?
So what's your structure look like now? What kind of management team do you guys have around you, and how do you guys operate that now?
Okay, so our company is divided in 3 sections, right? It's compartmentalized. One, we have the finance department, which we call them the Pussy Willows. It's kind of like a little clique they have there because they're passive aggressive. So we named it Pussy Willows, right? And we got this big old sign there with the actual Pussy Willow, the tree where it lights up pink, right? So right when you walk in, right there, right? So we have the finance department. So we have Pam, who's the VP of Finance. She has a staff of 3. She handles the main corporation. We have Stephen Lewis. He handles the concrete polishing company. Joyce, she's the controller for the coatings and supplies. And then we have Lorraine, who handles the properties. And Pam oversees all of them, but she focuses more on DTI flooring.
Right.
So then from there, we have, now this side is called the Lion's Den. It's where all the magic happens, where all the money's made, right? So when you come in, there's a big old sign. It's lit up. It says Lion's Den, right? It's lit up black and gold because that's our colors, right? So from that point, you have Terry, who's the vice president of sales, of business development. So he has his staff. You have him, Daryl, Rich, and then you have Alex, who's a senior estimator, who has his staff, Billy, Austin, Chris, and others, right? And they have their teams, and they make sure that they hit their fiscal monthly goals, but we make it fun. Here's the differences. With that being said, and then you got James, who's vice president of marketing. He does all the marketing. He handles our Liquid Gold series on YouTube. He handles all of the platforms. He does the cinematography. He does our website. This man does a lot, right? And which it's a big thing. And then you have Marvin, who's a national account manager. That guy alone he's a beast. I mean, that guy alone manages about $6 to $8 million on himself.
Wow.
So, and with that being said, look, everything taboo, people are afraid to talk dollars. I'm not afraid. My taxes are good. I promise you I'm straight. So I'm a square guy when it comes to that. But, with our situation here, it's different. The way we treat our staff is different. So we have a barbershop. The guys are appointment ready. The barbershop is inside of our facility, and they cut them every Tuesday, and they keep them appointment ready. That's important to me because I said if you want to generate $1 million, you have to look like $1 million.
Yep.
Look, it's about how you carry yourself.
Yeah.
And I told my guys, the confidence, the minute that you understand your value is the minute that it's game over. So with that being said, the company pays for the barber to come every Tuesday. We have a barbershop, a full-fledged barbershop in our office, right? And we also incentivize our sales guys. So we have competitions. Let me give you an example. If you sell $1 million, you get this pendant. It's a diamond encrusted pendant with our logo.
That's awesome.
So it means you're platinum now.
Yeah.
Which means you sold 1 million albums, right? So at that point, now you're on a different level, right? So you're part of the $1 Million Men's Club. So we put that on, and there's guys here that sold them. Any convention we go to, everybody's like, why is everybody wearing the necklace? I'm like, count the millions right in front of you. That's it.
That's awesome.
Right? So then when you sell 3 million, you get this one. This one's crazy.
Wait, what does that say?
It says diverse technology industrial.
Yeah, okay.
It says 3 million sold.
Nice.
That's awesome.
So this little thing here is another token of appreciation for them really going above and beyond. And this thing's, I think, it's worth about $18,000.
Jeez.
And it's super heavy. It gets better. So when they sell
This is a step up from the belt.
Oh, geez, look at that thing.
Whoa.
If they sell 5 million, they get this one, and there's a lock that has our logo on it, right? And then if they sell 10 million, they get this one.
Jeez.
Little Game Boy.
Yeah. So with that, if you look at the screen, all this is diamonds.
Yeah.
If you look at this is about $65,000. So this thing here, it just says, what game are you playing? We're playing diverse technology. This is what we do. This is a game to us, and we're on our own lane. We're not worried about nobody else, right? And it's kind of the mentality of branding.
Yeah.
Right?
How many guys have that Game Boy one?
Nobody yet.
Nobody yet?
Nobody yet. That's a big number to hit.
Yeah, it is.
So these things it's branding, but it's also rewarding your efforts. Like, so if you sell 3 million, you get this one, and you get a brand new Mercedes if you're 40% gross profit. You get a brand new Mercedes at the end of the year with the title and your name. That's what we do. So, and we also do competitions. Like right now, whoever hits 300,000 on a personal goal for that month, they get a $3,000 bonus. Plus their commissions or whatever.
Right.
This is non-commission based. So, and sometimes we do trips to Mexico, sometimes Tahiti, sometimes whatever I'm feeling at that time. It's kind of like, all right, let's raise the stake, guys. But what we also do is we once a quarter with our guys with the field and admin, we do something once a quarter. Like the last time I rented a mansion with a caterer. Everybody stayed there. We had a blast. Everybody was, drinking, having a good time. But we try to build morale, team morale, especially through times like this with this COVID thing. So I think what we've done is how do we incentivize guys and out in the field, like for them to be successful. Like out in the field, if they're safety without any injuries, they get bonuses. If they punch in on time and do the right things, they get bonuses. They get raises. It's not set. It's as they're growing, as they're incrementally growing in their craft. So everything is incentivized in this company for everybody to win. And we also teach financial literacy. And I think with most companies, this is where they fall. This is why I've had some great success. I don't know about everybody else, but traditionally, finances is taboo. It's so taboo, it's crazy. Like for me, I put everything on the table and I teach them financial literacy. And I say, I don't want you being here because you need a paycheck. I want you to be here out of free will. So let me help you become financially literate and live by the multiple of 10, right? So this company is debt free. It's 100% debt free.
That's right.
30 vehicles paid off. Everything you can think of here is debt free. So the way we operate, I teach them how much freedom we have, and not to mention the money that you generate, how we can invest in other investments and assets, because we are debt free. And I know a lot of people haven't leveraged their debt because they can't see this whole thing with the economy, right? And so what I've taught all my guys is how to manage finances, and I teach them. They're a part of the ARs, which is taboo, by the way. No one's allowed in the AR meetings, right? So they're not allowed that. We also have pipeline meetings, right? So it's structured where they submit their pipelines on the 1st and 15th to the finance department, and we let them know if they're profitable, if the company's profitable or not, how they need to raise the stake, how to go do market penetration. So financial literacy is truly important. I think a lot of companies held that back because the owner personally just wants to hoard all the money. And is afraid to reveal the finances. And for me, I always tell them, don't think about, I got other investments, I'm doing just fine. Understand, in order for you guys to have these haircuts, these quarterly things, we go every Thursday we go out as a group as well. And we go and eat out and have a couple drinks every Thursday, every 2 weeks, every 2 weeks. So for us, it's like, you like all these things? How about the raises? How about the cars? How about all these things that you guys get to take home? And, well, we need to be debt free, and the company needs to be financially healthy in order to do that. So I explained all the finances and why it's important for the company to be financially healthy. And through this whole COVID thing, we didn't lay off. We didn't ask people to take a decrease in their salary. We didn't take the PVP. We have 3 years worth of reserves in our account at all times. So we just have popped open reserve one. We're still on reserve one. We're going to be just fine. You know what I mean? And nobody had to take a pay cut.
I'm sure that really helps the morale too, because we've talked to quite a few people that, and I mean, we haven't really talked to anybody that's been like an unsuccessful company, right? Usually, if you're volunteering, because we're not hauling guns to people's head to come talk to us, right? Usually, if you're volunteering to talk to us, it's because you're probably pretty good at what you do and you enjoy talking about it, and you want to get that message out there. So that said, that being the case, I mean, most of the people we've talked to have at least been, on the good side of some things, but you definitely hear about, they've people that have struggled with some morale issues with their personnel and some other things, and finding ways to kind of keep them involved and keep them, mentally healthy through a lot of this, as you go on. So
that's why it was important for me not to stay home. I said the culture is first, right? We need to be there for one another while we're going through this supposed pandemic, right? So for me, it was not allowing, let them dwell on their own merit, being home and being isolated, because what you end up losing is the culture, and through social distancing, you end up losing that pizzazz, that interaction,
that fire.
I was afraid of that. So I kept everybody together. We had our own policy, how to, make sure you
interact with people.
Every morning we were disinfecting, and before we leave, we stayed away from the public. And we, instead of cold calling, what we ended up doing was we went super, super aggressive to marketing on the social media, and it paid off huge.
So do you see you guys kind of continuing down that path since it's been successful, or are you going back to some of the older ways at some point, or?
I think what you end up creating is a hybrid.
Right.
So
Yeah.
we ended up creating a new pipeline. Okay, so the new pipeline kind of distinguishes, okay, here's your bids that you put out. How much of it came from social media? And actually, how much of that social media came into fruition and turned into dollars? Right? So if you're spending 5 hours and you made $100,000 that month, but you spent 5 hours or 10 hours cold calling B2B, I'd rather you spend that time doing social media marketing, right?
Yeah.
So at that point, it kind of gives you a definitive line as to where you're supposed to spend your time. And these guys are taking this data and they're really making their own decisions, because understand something, I really enact bosses. I don't like employees, right? Bosses is, I don't have to tell you what to do. The data is going to tell you.
Yeah, manage yourself.
So to go handle it, right?
Yeah.
And I talk to the managers. And the managers, I have a relationship with everybody, but when it comes to decisions or where the company's at, I talk to the managers. Because the managers, if I go over the managers, then I discredit their authority.
Lose credibility.
Yeah. So what I try to do is I make sure that we create bosses, people that are going to take the first initiative. People are going to take it upon themselves to go above and beyond, because we inspire. And that's the difference between this era and the last era. Is before I used to do it with an iron fist. Now I do it through inspiration. And I want to inspire people to be at their best, but I also want to give them the mentorship that no one gave me. Yeah. Right.
Well, it allows you to kind of step back and work on the business rather than in the business when you have guys that have that empowerment of making their own decisions and room to grow. You could, rather than having to micromanage them all the time and
it's huge. And not only that, that's why I keep creating new companies so they can move into different positions and keep moving up. If I stun someone's growth, resentment will set in.
Yeah.
And I don't want anybody to resent me. I want to help them. And not only that, because everything's revolving, they can get commissions from all the companies. It's pretty cool. So they get checks on checks and checks. And I said, keep in mind, guys, 9 to 5, that's your main income. These are passive incomes. So you guys get to dwell, or you guys get to dibble and dabble and all these other companies. So that's the way it's structured. That's the way it's headed. And the real estate company is more, in the future, I want to create a situation where they get equity off of it by participating, and they get a dividends, like a 6% dividends off. So I'm always trying to find ways where my staff can be financially healthy and not need me. And not only that, taking it upon themselves to run the company like it's theirs, because it could be theirs when I retire.
Yeah. So kind of touching on that, because I mean, it sounds like you're obviously your end goal is to build a tribe of people that are willing to work hard and work for you. So, and earlier you said, rather than being smart about hiring, you wanted to be smart about firing. So speak to that a little bit about that process of what it looks like when you kind of identify somebody and how you get to that point of, disassociating.
So so it goes to, like, we vet it between 2 to 3 people. Okay. So I give it to the managers, and I have them write notes of all the discrepancies within their resumes. Right. And normally if I see 20 jobs in 3 years, I'm kind of like, hey, that person's got to go. And I let these guys know what to look out for, right? And you got to look for consistency. Consistency is the key factor, right? You can't be out of high school in 2017 and gone through 30 jobs. Right? So consistency. And then, not to mention, it's the wordplay, right? Wordplay is the most important thing. A lot of people like to use these high extensive vocabulary words, but it don't mean shit. I look at things and I say, okay, that's great, but how long have you been in this place, and how much have you moved up in that company? So if you use a great wordplay, that's great. It's impressive to some, but for me, I look at the position that they stayed in, or if they moved up in that company. Yeah. Right. So I'm kind of like a person, don't baffle me with bullshit to show me what you're worth. Right. Yeah. So, and then from that point, I do the handwriting test. I have them write on their resume in the back. I have them write the sentence at the end of what they typed out. they have good penmanship, then that means they are attentive to detail. If it's sloppy, this is scientific. If it's sloppy,
I've never heard of anyone doing this. I mean, it makes sense, but I literally never heard of anyone do this in a hiring process. But that's awesome.
Yeah, and if it's sloppy, they have ADD or ADHD. It's a scientific proven method.
Wow.
So then at that point, I look at that person and say, okay, this might not be the position for them, but let me offer them something else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or I tell my guys, don't be ashamed of getting 1,000 resumes and only keeping one person. It's a different pool of people out there now.
Yeah.
People aren't committed to the long term, right? So I tell these guys, I said, look at these things and make sure that you ask the questions and watch their body language. Body language tells you everything. It's a true definition of how a person's feeling without saying a whole lot.
Right.
So license is hard to get nowadays, even for guys that are wearing suit and ties. It's like everybody's like lost their license somehow. I don't understand. It's like, well, how are you getting back and forth? Well, I'm taking a chance. Okay, whatever.
Sure. Well, when can you start?
yeah.
Sounds great.
It's mind-boggling when you look at nowadays. I tell people now is the time to start ramping up for hiring because there's 40 million people unemployed right now.
Yep.
And they're thinking they're going back to the same place, but the economy's changing where they realize a lot of people can work at home and get twice as much work done at a smaller rate. And the people that lost so much income, like we lost a lot of income, but other big corporations that lost a lot of income, they're going to make guys wear 2 and 3 hats right now. What I'm trying to tell my guys is go out there and interview. It doesn't matter, the interview, because it will be a diamond in the rough. So it's through that process. And you're never going to be right. Trust that. But don't hold on to it longer than it's supposed to. Like, so because some people it's hard to let go. For me, if I give you 3 months, 90-day probation, if your work ethic isn't there and I see it in 1 month, I'm like, goodbye.
We don't need you.
It just won't work. How long do I have to carry that note before you figure out this ain't working?
Well, you can't teach somebody to work hard, right? I mean,
right. That's what it's got to be instilled. You got to have that here.
Yeah, and they can only fake it. They can only fake it for so long.
Yeah.
Right. And I always tell my guys, like, here's the biggest thing is I give every interviewer a saying, and it's my famous saying. It's even in my liquid gold drink here. It says, the minute you become successful is the minute your dreams become bigger than your excuses. So I tell the guys, what's your excuses? And they say, well, the minute they start giving me excuses, I'm like, this ain't gonna work.
Yeah.
Me, I would be like, I don't have any excuse. Just put me to the test and I'm gonna pass. But you'd be amazed the response that you get from them. You know what I mean? So that's how we interview people, and we've been fairly successful. The guys in the upper management have been here. The labor pool is the one that is the revolving door.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because everybody's living off of influence from social media. So everybody feels they should have more. And
so are you kind of going to that labor pool thing? Are you just resigned to the fact that that's the way it is and learning to deal with it? Or are there things you're constantly looking at or trying to implement to try and keep some of those people?
So I have this kid. I have a couple kids right now. When I call them kids, they're not kids, but they're 20 in their early 20s, right? I'm 38 years old. So
30. That's it. I mean, I obviously didn't know you. I knew you weren't 25, but I mean, 38 is still astonishing for the life experiences you have. But that's beside the point. That's for a different podcast. But moving.
But with these youngsters, as soon as I tell my guys, all the guys in management positions, as soon as you see something great about them, reward them if it's consistent. Yeah. Don't wait for that person to say, how am I doing?
Yeah.
That to me is asinine because that person now is going through self-doubt. But if you reward him as he's growing and he's moving, now he understands hard work and execution, right? And then the reward behind it.
Yeah.
So my guys have full authority. The minute that they're doing well, they're rewarded. And then not only that, we give them a lot of inspiration. That's why once a quarter we do something as a company. But the ones that have great talent, I reward them quick. And then
so when you do those, just to interrupt you real quick, I apologize, but when you do those quick rewards, like what are some examples of that? I mean, are you taking them lunch or buying them a beer, or is it actually monetary?
We'll give them a raise immediately.
Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
It could be $1, $2, $3, $4.
Right. Okay.
So I have a deal with two kids right now, with two guys right now. I say, I'm gonna give you a dollar raise every quarter because you have the potential. And in 2 years, you can get $8.
Yeah.
It's up to you. But you can also pass that if you take it upon yourself to take the initiative
to do even more.
Yeah. But if you fail me, I'll take it back. But let's make a contractual agreement that if you're meeting your markers, we set the expectations, we're meeting the markers, you get a dollar raise every quarter.
Which is important too, because I mean, these guys are seeing a light at the end of the tunnel, right? It's not just,
Right. And for me, here's the other thing. We have policies. We have policies called No Man Left Behind.
Wonder where you got that one from.
Well, it makes a lot of sense, right?
Yeah.
So if they're black and gold, to me, it's like, how do I justify if my sales and my estimating team hasn't executed and there's a gap in the schedule, how does that man go home without a check? And then I look at him in the face and say, hey, do you love DTI? He's going to be like, yeah, just to say yeah. So what we ended up doing, in order for them to really believe in the brand, if they don't work, they still get a check. They still get a check.
Yeah.
So because I have failed them, we as the admin have failed them to be consistent and bringing the check home. So that policy, no man left behind, it enacts after 90 days of being full-time.
Right.
They get their 401k if they choose, and their healthcare, and then that no man left behind policy kicks in, and they don't ever have to worry about whether we fill the schedule or not. They're going to get paid.
Which is important too, because I mean, that's probably a big reason why a lot of companies see guys jumping around is because they just can't fill the work, and they obviously, I mean, a lot of these guys, like you said, are living paycheck to paycheck. So,
right.
Missing a couple of weeks or even half a week here or there is huge for them. So
huge.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not only that, it's vacations, man. Like, look, I honestly look at everything personally, right?
How would I want to be treated?
What would I not like if somebody could pay me a check?
Yeah.
Like, and I got to go look at my wife and say, hey, I didn't have any work this week.
Yeah.
Like, what kind of company is that? So I have to look at it from that perspective and say, am I worried about profit, or am I worried about his well-being that he could create profit?
Yeah.
So I got to worry about their well-being. So that's why I said business owners have to eat shit sometimes in order to gain at the long term.
Well, it's like, I mean, that goes to building your character and your name in the industry and your legacy, I guess, if you will, just because, I mean, if you're doing that to everybody, then there's a good chance somebody's out there saying, hey, Lexi didn't take care of me on this and this, that. And yeah, so I mean,
you would think,
there's a lot more to it than just your instantaneous profit in that moment. There's a lot more things that are built into that decision that help you out long term, obviously.
Yeah, and we listen. We have our thing here in this company that we make sure our people are. This is just one aspect of it, with no man left behind. But DTI is very committed to a staff person. I know guys that I brought in that had situations going on prior to coming in. We don't pay people's rents, house, cars, all types of stuff in order for them to be right here. So if you have personal issues and I know that you're a good candidate, I'm going to do whatever I can. If you're behind 1 month on rent, I'm going to take care of that. And you don't have to pay me back. You have to work hard in order to get it.
Right.
Yep.
Right. So I can gain on the profit side. So I'm there committed to my staff 100%.
That's rad.
Yeah, that's
so cool.
Not normal.
Very cool. I mean, it only goes to back the proof of where you are now and what you've done. It only goes to prove that process. So
keep in mind, I'm a pure conservative. Like I'm a pure conservative, but I have compassion.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I have compassion for my staff.
Well, there's a difference between just giving people anything and everything,
right?
In that socialist aspect, and not to be political, but just that's a definition of the word, right? But and there's a big difference between that and then taking care of people who are busting their ass for you. So
exactly.
I mean, there's.
I just didn't want that to get confused. Like people out there is like, oh, that's the place I want to be in.
Yeah. I want to go work for that socialist guy who gives everybody everything. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Actually, I was going to send you my resume tomorrow.
Yeah, for real. Can't show up next week. I still get a check, right?
So just kind of as we kind of get closer to wrapping this up, biggest question I got is you said you're in the Marines, right?
Yes, sir.
So how did you get to black and gold? Isn't that an Army color?
Oh man, that was right in the groin. Black and gold represents power and wealth.
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure my guys were powerful and wealthy.
Just want to make sure there wasn't some other motivation there or something. No, all right, good.
We used to beat on those guys for fun.
I thought you lost a bet while you're in the service at some point.
There's always going to be a rivalry there.
That's funny. No, that's really cool. So the $100 million plateau, what are you looking at from a life cycle? How long are you hoping to get there?
I think my calculations is probably about 10 to 12 years. Our life cycle, it really has a lot of pros to it, but we have to accomplish, everything has to make a profit, right?
Right.
And I always, if people don't look at it in any other way, look at it this way. Like DTI, Diverse Technology Industrial, the main corporation is my Tesla. So it allows me to create my SpaceX,
right,
City, all those things, right? So also keep in mind, we're constantly every year we're doing merger acquisition. And this year we're due for a merger acquisition. Like we're looking into a robotics company right now. A lot of people's like, "Whoa, that's a big foot." No, it's part of the process.
Yeah.
Like you look at where everything is headed, and if you're 5 years ahead, then you're going to hit that curve.
Yeah.
Like so for me, like I'm looking at things with my team diligently, and what makes sense financially for us. We're looking at a painting company Tuesday to buy, right? We're looking at a robotics company. We're meeting with that guy on Thursday. And we're constantly vetting companies that we can buy at a low because the owner was careless with his finances, but he has a great estimating team and has a good existing book of business for us to come in, restructure, and get it turning and burning to be profitable.
Yeah.
So in order for us to be successful and build the $100 million plan, it's more real estate, because net worth and liquid are two different things, right? But when you look at it, it's real estate. Real estate, and I'm not talking about houses. I think houses is the worst investment. But I'm talking about commercial properties, like apartment buildings like we have.
Yep.
Our coatings and supply store, we're building one a year in different states. We're building one a year. And so that's the next 10-year plan. And if you do that, and we did the analytics behind that, that itself should hopefully be close to 100 million.
Wow.
We also have a tech company. Like I was the first person to do augmented reality. Me and my buddy, we have an app, and we were the first to do augmented reality through the camera where you can measure the floor.
Measure the flooring, yeah.
So we have an app for our company, but we also are creating new apps and new things. So for us to be ahead of the curve, but also, find the momentum, because everything's going to change with the social distancing. People are living in fear. I don't think this is just going to just shake off. Americans got short minds and short memory, but I honestly believe this one's going to stick around for a while.
Yeah.
So we have to change with the curves, and we have to invest in new technology and new things, so that way we can stay relevant. So we're trying to build a trade school. We're going to do DTI 3D printing homes and DTI deliveries. So we have a life cycle that we're going to fulfill. And there's other things in between, like this energy drink that's about to be in every store because we just met with a distributor. And one of those things is it's R&D, getting outside of your element, but not too far out where it's uncomfortable. Like all this is comfortable. So, and then I create a structure and teach the management how to run it, and then I just deal with the managers. So DTI is a very, very, very profitable company because it's debt-free and it's looking for new ways of innovation. But we eat it, but we do it through profit. We don't do it out of pocket.
Right. Yeah, just keep reinvesting,
Yeah. So I honestly, if I could say anything, would be, I hope in the future, like we were prepared for COVID-19, not expecting it, but we were financially prepared for it.
Yeah.
These guys here, I got to make sure they bring a paycheck to their family.
Yep.
So being debt free, a lot of people say debt's good. I say debt's bad. Debt's only good for the real estate side. And even then, I'm debt free there.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a process. And like you said, it's those procedures and all those things that you had to put in place to be able to, get to that point. It's not just something that, you can just, oh, you know what? I'm going to go live a debt-free life and be a debt-free company. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely obviously a lot of things that are involved, but yeah, it's that, like you said, it's that discipline to be able to stick to that. And
I'm in love with the process. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that.
Well, I think that's that Marine lifestyle, right? I mean, yeah.
It's you got to be in love with the process. If you're in love with materialistic shit, you're gonna lose. You're gonna lose all the time. But if you
and also be unsatisfied too, right? I mean, that's what they say about a lot of people who came into wealth. Yeah, that they're not happy with money. Well, shit, I'll tell you right now, I'd be real happy with a shit ton of money, but I also know how to work hard and I've built, to where I am now. So I mean, go ahead, give me a few $1 million. I'm gonna show you how to be happy. But like you said, I mean, I've had that mindset of working hard to get to where I am. So
I tell you what, I've had millions and millions where I blew millions. I had every car you can think of. I've had everything you can think of. and it's just those things. It's never enough. Yeah. So at some point, you got to base your whole existence based off the process and being in love with the process. Because the materialistic shit, there's always something new and something better and something else, right?
Well, you'll never have it all either. Yeah.
Right. You never have it all. And the thing about it for me, like the process I'm in love with, I think I literally sabotage myself just to like do it again. I don't know how I do it, right? And
let's see how bad I can screw this up so that I get to start all over again.
You know one thing I've never worried about, and my team knows this, I've never worried about money. Like one of the things, I got good discipline for it now because of all the things I've learned. Yeah. But I don't worry about money because I'm not in love with it. Yeah. I'm more in love with what we do and how it provides for people. And at the end of the day, the company's wealthy. If you look at my personal life, I really live this shit. Like I'm really debt free personally, and I live this in business. So it's not just something that's cool to say. It's really a lifestyle.
Yeah.
And I can really provide stability for my household and for my companies.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's great.
Very cool.
Yeah,
very cool. Well, I mean, I know you probably got a million plugs for us, so let's get them all. Let's get them going. Let's find out.
Let us know
where we find you all. Let's get them going.
I'm gonna keep it simple, but
no, don't, man. Get them all.
There it is. That's a whole sheet of paper right there.
You know, it's not that long. You know? On YouTube, please subscribe to our Liquid Gold channel. Diverse Technology Industrial. We have a webisode called Liquid Gold. And you can follow me on Instagram, Official King Lex. We also have the Diverse Technology Industrial page on Instagram, liquidgoldenergydrink.com. And you can listen to Lex Talks on Spotify, Apple, and all the major platforms.
That's awesome.
I give game to people because I want people to be well informed and without paying for anything. That's the problem nowadays too, is everybody wants to give you some information, but they want you to pay for something.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I just want to give it away for free. And what made me successful, and hopefully somebody can be better than I can.
That's great.
That's so cool. Yeah. We'll obviously link all this stuff on our website, so you got links for it all. But man, it was awesome. Love. Yeah. I really wish we had. I wish we had 7 other podcasts so we could spend that much more time.
I know, right?
All the different topics.
My life was a movie. It's fun though.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, where are you? So hold on. I know Brian knows. Where are you guys from? Where are you guys out of?
All right, so we're out of Tracy, California.
Yeah, up north. Yeah,
and,
up north. Okay.
It's a movie. Like we travel around the country, and we're so like together is where we're at our best. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna find. We're gonna find a way to get up there and hang out with you guys.
Yeah, for sure.
Get the Rolls Royce treatment.
Baby.
Shoot the shit. Have a few beers and we'll hang out, man. It's been awesome. Thanks so much, Lex. Appreciate it.
No problem. We look forward.
Yeah, y'all stay safe. People ask.
Yeah, thank you, Alexi. Thanks, James. Appreciate it, guys.
Hey, thanks for listening. And if you've made it this far, go ahead and give us a like or 5 stars or whatever means you like us.
Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss our next episode. And check out our website for more video content and extras.
While you're there, shoot us a message if you want to be a guest. We'd love to have you on.
Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.